Hello, realtors, investors, and entrepreneurs. Welcome to my ProEdge marketing channel. So glad you're here. In this short video, I'm going to share a very powerful feature of ManyChat, and that's the rules engine as a way to completely automate your real estate business. With the rules engine, you can set rules, for example, when a prospect transitions from state to state within the bot. Maybe they've already progressed, telling you all the things that they're looking for in a house. And as you tag them inside the flow, that could trigger a rule to maybe put them into a drip campaign. You could have other rules based on interaction. So from the last time they interacted with us, maybe nudge them a little bit to make sure that they're staying on course with giving you the details on the lead generation. Let's dive into ManyChat and explore the powerful features of the rules engine. So now inside of ManyChat, to get to the rules engine, you're going to head over to automation and then down to rules. As you can see with my ProEdge chatbot for real estate, I use rules liberally. So I have, for example, yard signs. When somebody walks by one of my houses, I always have a QR code on the sign. When they see that particular sign, they take their phone out, they scan the QR code. I set a timer inside this rule, and then I have a 4-hour timer so that 4 hours later, I'm going to nudge that person through a message and say, hey, we noticed you stopped by the open house today, showing some interest. Would you like more information? And then we can have the bot ask them questions and take action. I also have some down here around seller and buyer nudges. So I use these as nudges. So the way I use these rules is, for example, when I create a flow in ManyChat, if I'm answering or asking them some questions along the way, if they get stuck somewhere, maybe the kids distracted them or the dog needed to go out or what have you, they didn't finish having the conversation with the chatbot, I always have these nudges in place so that an hour later, 12 hours later, I may ask the bot to nudge them a little bit by sending them a message and say, hey, looks like you got distracted. Would you be interested in learning more about our home buying program or what have you? Open houses. I have rules around, from the 30 minutes after they check into an open house. Again, I use QR codes at the open house. They scan it, the way to register for the open house. They can do a pre-registration through a Facebook ad. But once they get to the house and they scan to check into the house, I have the timer set up. And let's take a look at this one here, where in this case, this rule that I've set up is date and time-based triggered. So I said 30 minutes after the last interaction. So the interaction was them taking their phone out, scanning the QR code. That started the bot conversation, checking them into the house. And then the timer starts inside of ManyChat with a 30-minute timer. And then as long as the condition I have here is as long as the contact has a tag open house completed, check-in completed, then I'm going to nudge them. And I'm going to send them this flow here, which is a house rating flow. And the bot will simply ask them, what did they think of the house? Did they think it was priced right? Are they thinking about putting in an offer? And we can have the bot get the offer details right inside the conversation. So this is a great way to interact with that. Over here, I'll show you some other ones. So I have some Home Partner of America. I'm a Home Partner of America agent. So what I do here is I use rules that are based on tags. So if I tag one of my prospects that they're now a renter, so throughout the journey of a buyer or a seller or a renter, I'm tagging them along the way. And as they reach certain tags, the flow will tag them. This rule will trigger. And what this rule is doing is putting them into a drip campaign. So lots of ways to manage rules inside of ManyChat. To create a new rule, you hit the custom rule button here. And then you have a place up here to name it. So maybe we do a buyer provided budget, right? So now I get the budget from the person. That's the rule that I'm going to look. What I'm going to do is I'm going to identify when this happens over here, perform these actions on the right. So when this happens, this could be a time-based trigger. So after so long, I showed you an example earlier with the open house or the yard sign, where I'm looking at a certain number of minutes, days, whatever, logging events. when a tag is applied or when a tag is removed, when somebody gets subscribed from a sequence or unsubscribes. And I can also in here monitor custom fields. So when a field has a value set, then I can trigger the rules. So maybe they told me the budget, and in the flow, I store whatever they told me their budget was into a custom field in ManyChat. I can have that stored, and then when that value gets hit, then I can trigger a flow through the rules engine here. So over in here, I'm going to use TagBased, and I'm going to type in the word budget here, and I have a tag called budget completed. So I know they completed the budget. And then over here on the right-hand side, I can say what actions do I want to perform. So in the actions, I can send them to a flow right here. So I can maybe send them to another conversation later on. I could have a time based on that and say, hey, we noticed that you gave us the budget. And then I can, in a previous video, I showed bot sheets, which is a great way to showcase properties. Based on the budget, when they give me the budget numbers, I can then start a flow that then the bot will say, hey, based on that budget you just gave me, I could do evaluations and then show them a list of houses that meet their budget needs. You'll see all different types of capabilities here, from creating custom audiences. So what I do personally in my ProEdge business and my chatbot for real estate is I use custom audiences in Facebook, and I had other videos on my channel showing my favorite Facebook custom audiences. So check them out on the channel. But with certain actions here, I can push them automatically into a custom audience in Facebook. I can dynamically change their menu or do something with bot sheets. I could do an action called put them on a Google sheet. So sometimes I'll have rules that will be based on if a buyer or seller gives me contact information and they're interested in doing a transaction, then that's a hot lead. I can have a trigger zap, which sends them over to my CRM. I use KV Core, or I could put them on a Google sheet. So lots and lots of capabilities here in ManyChat for the rules engine. You also have this perform actions on, so you can say how often does this happen, once per contact or is any number of times. So based on your rule, you'll know, do I want this to constantly go in? You know, if I send them the nudge on a 1 hour, do I want to resend it again after they didn't respond within 30 minutes, for example? You just have to be careful with these if you do many times based on the action that you're sending them to. If it's a flow that's going through Messenger, always abide by the Facebook 24-hour rule. So based on message marketing rules, you can't send a message outside the 24 hours through the bot. So make sure as you're designing these rules that you are properly understanding that 24 hours. So 24 hours, I can always check to see, did they last interact? And you can have conditions in your flow that will track those timings. So you just want to be careful on those. But that's as easy as it is. Once you have it, let's just say I'm gonna why don't we go down here and I'll just start a flow, and I would select my flow. I'll send them maybe an ebook. So down in here under seller guides, I have a buyer's guide that I'm going to send them to. So once they complete the budget, I'll kick off the flow and say, thanks, we have everything we need to help you find a house. Here's by the way, here's a seller's guide that will give me details of the process and what to expect as the next steps. And we can send them material right through the Messenger bot, a PDF or what have you, or send them to a website. Once you have your rule, you're going to hit save. And then right here, there's an active checkbox, or when you hit save for the first time, it'll say, do you want to activate? And now that checkbox is live. If you ever want to deactivate it for a minute, maybe you don't want to send it anymore, you just deactivate it. And over here with the 3 dots, you can duplicate and delete rules. So as you can see, rules are a powerful capability here. You see some of these rules I have deactivated, but you can have these turned on and off, and then let the system do the work for you. The power of rules is to take time off your plate or put time back on your plate by doing these rudimentary stuff where you're sending them an ebook or an email after they do something. That's all time sucked on your calendar. So you could use rules to enhance your ability to focus on the revenue generating activities as a realtor and investor. so that you make this the best decade ever. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any comments, as always, put them down below, and I'll respond to you very, very quickly if I could talk. And also, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. I'd appreciate it. I'm here for you, and if you have any ideas of content you want me to provide, shoot me a note, and there's links below to connect with me. We can spend a little time on a Zoom or just through the notes. We can communicate, and great way to continue to learn as a group. I really appreciate you joining my channel here. Thanks.